welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on what is a sad day. Today, I know most of you obviously will know about this, but our Queen Elizabeth II, died yesterday after reigning for 71 years at the age of 96. What an extraordinary lady and what an extraordinary life. And, well, we're very lucky, actually. We're going to be looking at a tribute puzzle today. Unbelievably, Malrog sent in a puzzle that he made last night as a tribute to Queen Elizabeth. So you can see it on the screen here. It's amazing that this has happened so quickly. But let me just run you through some of this. 1952 was the year that Queen Elizabeth was coronated. That was the year of the coronation. I still remember 1977, which was the Silver Jubilee. I remember riding my bike at the Silver Jubilee then. Incredible. And then also in the puzzle, obviously, we've got ER, and then this little 2 here, symbolising Elizabeth Regina, number 2, the second. Obviously, this Queen Elizabeth, we had our first Queen Elizabeth, many centuries ago, just the daughter of Henry VIII. And then we've got the 8th of September, 2022, as the date that she died. So yeah, amazing. It's amazing, and obviously the crown at the top. So Malrog has done something very special here. Mark has tested this puzzle. We had to do it. We had to get it tested very quickly, obviously, to do it today. And he says it's a really good puzzle as well. So Malrog, an awful lot of kudos to you. And yeah, it's a sad day, but I hope it's also a time when people can reflect on what an achievement it is for anybody to do the same job well for 71 years. That is quite a thing. And you think of the people that she must have met over all those times, all of the engagements, the stories she must have been able to tell. That would have been quite a dinner guest, I think. But anyway, R.I.P. Mum. We did tweet about this last night. Actually, some of you were asking about this, so I should just explain. We made this tweet yesterday, and Mark and I spent about 2 hours yesterday on this cryptic clue, tragically lacking Her Highness at last. 4-7. And some of you have been asking us to explain what's going on here. Well, hopefully the words, obviously, they should be redolent of what happened yesterday. But the idea is this is obviously a cryptic clue. Tragically is being used to tell you to anagram the letters of lacking her. Alexa, now is not the time. I might edit that out. Anyway, lacking her, and then the last letter of the word highness is an S, and if you anagram lacking her an S, you can make King Charles. So yeah, we hope that was sort of poignant. Anyway, let me move on to other topics. Although the next topic is a little strange as well. I want to wish. Yeah, I think it's going to be Joachim. It could be Joachim. A very happy birthday today. Joachim's turned 25. Comes from Oslo, and your friend Silvert wrote to us to say that he might appreciate a shout out and that you follow the channel. And Silvert went on to say that the two of them are part of a comedy troupe called, I'm going to get the pronunciation of this wrong, I'm afraid, Majukpono, something like that. And that they've been feeling low recently because they've come in for a lot of criticism. They've been suffering at the hands of the critics. And that reminded me, over the years on Cracking the Cryptic, we are blessed on this channel with the most extraordinary community. We're so lucky. When you think of some of the areas of the internet where the trolls are rife, and yet our community is basically, it seems to us, full of highly intelligent, highly entertaining, and almost always kind people. But I will tell you, Silver and Joachim, that every time, for every 10 nice comments that we get on a video, the one you tend to remember is the one that's slightly less kind. That's the one that sticks with you. I don't know if that's human nature or not. And it was a few years ago now that somebody recommended to me a speech by, well, it's a speech by Theodore Roosevelt, but it got some traction in modern parlance because of a speech by Brené Brown, who suffered at the hands of critics. And when she read this speech, it really changed her life a bit. I'll read it now, and hopefully I know it'll be familiar to many of you, but if it's not familiar to you, it is food for thought. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or whether the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And yeah, there's a lot about that I think, it resonates. And I think that living life with the attitude that you should always try your best is not a bad way to go, and to get your face marred with dust, sweat and blood, but to strive valiantly, well, at least you're not wasting your years. Anyway, this is going to be a very strange edition, I think. What else do I need to tell you about today? Not very much. We have scheduled our stream for when Mark and I plan to work through the puzzles in our recent 500,000 subscriber special app. That's going to be on Monday night at 10 p.m. UK time. We'd love to have your company. If you can join us, that would be great. And we think we've got the stream set up so that we can each solve the puzzles that we haven't solved before. So I'm going to be solving some, and Mark's going to be solving some. Hopefully the technology will work. I have my doubts a little bit, but I have some mild hope as well. Anyway, let's get on with Elizabeth Regina by Malrog, and I'll read you the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Adjacent digits on the E and R must differ by at least 5. I don't know how Malrog has made these graphics. This is so clever. The big E and the big R. I've got no idea how this is possible. But anyway, so adjacent digits on the E and the R have to be 5 apart at least. Digits on a light grey thermometer must increase from the bulb end. So this is a thermometer. I see. So it's sort of as we go up the thermometer, if that was 1, that could be 3, 5. Have to be a bit careful because it sort of goes both ways. So something like that might work as a way a thermometer can make sure we rise as mercury rises, so the numbers must rise as we go along the thermo. Digits on a purple line must be a set of consecutive digits in any order and must not repeat. So this purple line here, let's imagine we worked out there was a 1 on it, then it would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to be correct, because it must be a consecutive sequence without a repeat. Digits in a cage do not repeat and must sum to the total given. There is one cage down here, the 22 cage, so that we've got to make sure those digits are different and sum to 22. Digits on a marked diagonal must sum to the total given, so there we've got 2 diagonals marked, so that diagonal sums to 52. This one sums to 19. And digits separated by a white dot are consecutive, so we've got 2 of those, which is quite actually immediately that's going to give us another digit. So we've got to make sure, as this is an 8, this cell must be consecutive with 8, so it's either 7 or 9. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video, as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. and see what Malrog has managed to construct at such short notice. Well, let's start with this white dot here, because this has to be consecutive with 9. It can't be 10, that's not a valid Sudoku digit, so we've got to put 8 in here. Right. Actually, I'm just going to pencil mark 7 and 9 into this cell as well, because I'm suddenly realising that we can use the secret about German whispers lines, and the E and the R here are German whispers lines in the sense that each subsequent digit has to differ from the last digit by at least 5. So what are the secrets of German whispers lines? There are 2. The first is you can never put a 5 on one of them, and that's because the next digit becomes impossible. Once you've put a 5 on, this digit has got to be 5 different at least from 5, so it's either 10 or higher or 0 or lower. They don't work. So you can't put a 5 on a line. Now what that means is that once you work out the so-called polarity, we use the word polarity for these digits, the polarity of one digit on the line, and by polarity I mean is it higher or lower than 5? Well, this is higher than 5. We can now basically populate this entire line with because we know the polarity of the alternate digits. And let me explain that. If this is 8, so what's this digit? Well, it has to be 5 different from 8. It definitely can't be higher, therefore. So it must be lower. And whatever it is, it skips the other side of the 5. So it's always got to be a 1, 2, 3 or 4. In fact, in this instance, it can't be 4, can it? Because 4 would only be 4 different. But the key thing is, it has to be the other side of 5. Now, if this digit, let's say it could be 4. If this digit is 1, 2, 3 or 4, what's this digit? Well, again, it has to be 5 different. So it has to be the other side of 5 from 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this would have to be 6, 7, 8 and 9. And you get this oscillating polarity along the lines. And because we've actually got this 8 here, we can use this. And every alternate cell is going to have to be high, which I will make orange because that's a sunny digit on a dark and gloomy day. And therefore what we should do also is to make the low digits a cold colour, which I think I normally make blue. So we get this pattern along the R, but because we know 7 or 9 are higher than 5, we can do exactly the same thing on the other letter. So those cells have all got to be sunny digits. These are going to be the grey digits, not the blue digits. And now, okay. So we've got 4, if you think about it, there are 4 high digits, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So we've got a quadruple of those in row 8. And okay, that can't be an 8 or a 9, look, because of the 8 and the 9 in the column. This cell can't be a 6, because if that was a 6, these two cells would have to both be equal to 1, because there is only one digit that's 5 away from 6, which is a valid Sudoku digit. So if you make that 6, you've got to go double 1, and that will break Sudoku rules. So that can't be 6 or 8 by the power of... that's a 6. So in this column now, look, we've got 3. We know that these 3 cells are 8, 7 and 9, and that's a high digit. So that's 6, which must be next to 1. Okay. Can we do any better than that? We do have to put a 6 in the bottom row. Okay. Let's have a look at column 7 now. Because this digit can be neither 8 nor 9, so it's a 6 or a 7. But look, if that one's 6, what are those two squares? Well, I realise I've just done this in the most obtuse manner. The reason this is not 6 is there's a 6 in the row. But let's imagine we hadn't got this 6. Can it be 6? No, because those two squares would both have had to be double 1. So I apologise about that. There was a simpler way. That's a 7. 7 can only be next to 1 and 2 as their next digits, because we've got a digit that's 5 away. And that cell, look, can't be a 1, so that's got to be 2. They're a 1-2 pair, which is probably resolved by something, although I can't see what it is. If this is 7, this is 6. 6 must be next to 1, so that gets us that digit. That cell's no longer 6. This is high, this is high. Maybe I should actually just label them all up. Let's get that out of the way. 6, 7, 8 and 9, and let's see what we can get rid of. We can get rid of 8 there by Sudoku. We can get rid of 6 here by Sudoku. We can get rid of... I don't know what else we can get rid of. Maybe nothing. Oh, this can't be 6 because it's next to 2. And that's only 4 apart. So that's got to be 7, 8 or 9. Actually, that can't be 6 for a good reason either. Because if that's 6, you've got to put... Oh, hang on. No, I was reading the letter as going across there. But actually, it can't be 6 because that would be 1. And that 1 would clash. Oh, in fact... Yeah, in fact, what is this? Isn't this 9? Because if that's 7, this needs to be a 1 or a 2. And that's not going to work either. So that is 9. Which gives us some digits there. This is now a 7. Which must be next to a 1 and a 2. So that's got to be a 2. That's got to be a 1 due to this one here. That's no longer a 7, I suppose. So actually, this is going... It's going fairly well. This can't be 6 because it would cause a 1 here. That's a 7, so that's a 9 by Sudoku. That puts no pressure on those digits, which now have to be 2, 3 or 4, with that one not able to be 2. Oh, that can't be 4, or that would also be 9. The only digit that can accompany 4 on a whisper is a 9, so that's got to be 3, which means this is 8, because it can't be 9. So that's 9. We're still going here. We're still getting actual progress done. That cell's now not 6 or 9, so this is 7 or 8. There's a 7, 8 pair in this row. That's 2, 3 or 4. It can't, well, that can't be 6 because it can't be next to a 1. So that's, and that can't be 8. Oh, whoopsie. This can't be 8 and this can't be 8 because there's an 8 here. So this is all getting whittled down quite nicely. That can't be 6. It can't be next to 2. So this is 7, 9, and this is now an 8. Good grief. Okay. That cell's interesting, because it can't be 1, 2, and it can't be 4, because 4 can't go next to 8. So that is, in fact, a 3. And 3 can't be next to 7, so that's an 8. Good. We still go. And... Okay, is that as far as we can take that logic? I don't think I know what this one is. Not sure. I've got lots of low digits in this column. Oh, 1! Where does 1 go in this column? And the interesting thing about that, look, is where can you not put 1 on a thermometer? Well, you cannot put it halfway along a thermometer, because if you do try and put 1 here, that digit will have to be a 0. And that won't work from a Sudoku perspective. So those can't be 1s, and there is a 1 in the bulb, which is not actually terribly surprising or putting much of a restraint on anything. But it's still probably worth knowing. Can we do any better than this? We can argue that that's an 8, so that's a 7, look. So there's got to be an 8 in one of those two squares. So it might be the purple line we need to think about in a moment or two. Let's just see if we can do anything better than... There's got to be a 6 in one of those cells. There's got to be a 7 in one of those. So that is a 6-7 pair, which means that these squares have got to be a 4-5 pair. And now we can... I don't know what we can do here. Oh, I tell you something I haven't thought about at all. I can put 6 in the bottom row. Yeah, a 22 cages, they don't normally attract my attention unless they're 3 cells large, but actually a 7-cell 22 cage is forced, isn't it? Because there is only one way of making 6 digits add up to 22, Sorry, I think I might have said 7 digits, but it's 6 digits add up to 22. And that's with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 7. So can I just write these in, is the question I'm now wondering about. Well, actually, let's put those in. If that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6 in the bottom row has to go here. This has to be an 8, 9 pair, which is somehow not resolved, I don't think. Right, now that digit cannot be 1, 2, or 3. That digit cannot be 7. These digits cannot be 1. This digit cannot be 2 or 3. Hang on a second. What about that one? Oh, that one's under no pressure at all, probably. Hang on. What's going on in this bottom row? I'm sure that we can do better than this. We can get... There's a 6 up here now, I'm noticing, by Sudoku. It's sort of a little bit difficult to see the digits, isn't it, behind the... Maybe I should get rid of the... Yeah, I think I can get rid of the colours now. So let's go Control A and get rid of the colours. And perhaps that's going to make it slightly easier to see the digits we've got in the grid. That cell can't be a 3, I've just seen. So that's 2 or 4. Oh, or okay, 6 goes there, which I should have got before, sorry. So that's 6, that's 7 by Sudoku. So there's a 6 over here. Can I get the 7? No. Can I? What else? Ah, that's not 7 by Sudoku. 2 in this column looks quite restricted, but I guess this could be a 2. This certainly can't be a 2. What can that be? That's at the junction of 2 thermos. So, yeah, okay. Why do I always do this? I just concluded using logic that this couldn't be a 6. And the reason I did that was not using the given 6, of course. I realised all this pencil mark, I did it by thinking about what those 2 digits could be if this was a 6 and noting that they couldn't both be 7. But there was a simpler way, which is just to use this. Now, if this is 5, we could have 6, 7 here, I think. Probably. Okay, so if that can be 5, it's got to be 5, 4, or 3. It can't be lower than 3 because this needs to have a value. So that's 2, 3, or 4. This is 3, 4, or 5. We get this 2. We've got a remaining 2, 3, 4, 5 quadruple in column 5, but I'm not seeing immediately how to resolve that. What about 8? Yes. That's an 8 by Sudoku. Okay, there's more Sudoku to do. That's going to be the key. So we've got 3, 4, and 5 to put in those cells as well. And that one can't be 3. So these cells over here are 4, 5, and 6. That cell can't be a 7, I've just seen. So I've got a quadruple 6, 7, 8, 9 in column 7. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, I've got lots of quadruples on 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. Oh, the 52 diagonal I've got some digits on now. What do they add up to? 18, 28. I've got 28 so far, and I need another 24 to get to 52. So these 4 cells here, let's just highlight those for a moment, they have to add up to 24. So those can be a maximum of 8 and 7. That would be 15. So I still need another 9 from these 2. So even if that's 5, this cell is at least a 4. It's at least a 4, but it can't be 9, 6, 7, or 8. So that's 4 or 5. Which is... Well, okay, that's the thing that I think is interesting about that, perhaps, is what goes on back up here again then. Because the maximum I can make these two digits now is 10 if I make them both equal to 5. Which means these two have to add up to at least 14, and they can't add up to more than 15, so there's 1 degree of freedom. And there has to be an 8 in one of those squares, so there's definitely an 8 up here. And it's either 8, 7 or it's 8, 6. Oh no, we've got the 8 here. We've got the 8 there. Sorry, I was seeing various sort of types of X-wing, but they're all useless. So we can say that there must be a 5 in one of these two squares. This can't be double 4 because these couldn't be high enough. So if there's a 5 in one of those squares, no, that's not doing anything. I was thinking cells like this now couldn't be 5 because there must be a 5 in one of those. But I don't know if we can do better than that. Right. Oh dear. So, okay, maybe we've got to pencil mark this thermometer more fully then. If that's 3, this has got to be at least 4. I don't want to do that. That's got too many. These have got too many options, I think. Or maybe the purple line is important. So the purple line is a 7-cell purple line. Right, so imagine that we lined up the digits 1 to 9 against a wall, and we sliced 7 consecutive digits out of the sequence of 9. We're always going to have the digits 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 in the cross section. Because if we start with 1 and go all the way to 7, obviously we've got 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 in that string. But if we start with 9, which is the furthest we could start on the other side, and go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, you can see we pick up the 3. And we've also obviously picked up the 7, 6 and the 5. So this line has 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on it for sure. Which, right, so I get a slight improvement in my 6ing then. Because that can't be a 6 and that can't be a 6, and yet we know there's a 6 on this line. So that cell definitely is not a 6. The 6 is in one of those two cells. Can that be a 6? Maybe. What else? So we need to put 7 on the line. Oh, I don't think we know any. Well, oh no, we literally don't know anything. 7, I think, could go in all 4 of those positions. Nothing else is restricted because these wing cells are only seeing the big digits. Hang on a moment, though. Hang on a moment. Well, I'm seeing this cell. Okay. Let's have a think about these two cells. Because those cells are really limited. Oh, this is that's beautiful, actually. That's beautiful. I've got it. So the thing that we've got to appreciate here. This is just lovely. Right. So these cells here see the entirety of the purple line. And that means that whatever we put in yellow cannot appear on the purple line. And yet we know the purple line has the digits 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on it. So we cannot put 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 in those cells because that will break the purple line. And that means these cells are from 1, 2, 8 and 9. But look, 1, 2 and 8 are looking at that one. So I think that's got to be a 9. And what does that mean? So if there's a 9, this can't be 1 or 9 now. So this is 2 or... Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, this is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. This is 8. Because if this is 2, that's telling us we now can't put 2 on the line. But that would mean we couldn't put 1 on the line either, because remember this is a consecutive sequence, and we can't put 9 on the line, so that would be ruling 3 digits out off a 7-cell line. And that's not going to work. That's going to mean we have to repeat a digit on the line. So that's got to be 8. And now oh, that means that's an 8 in the corner. Oh, this is going now. I've got a 9 here by Sudoku. That means this is a 7. 7 comes out of those. Oh, I've just realised I could have taken 7 out of these before. Just didn't spot that. So where does 7 go in the bottom row? It seems to have to go there. So these cells at the top of column 2 are now 4, 5 and 6, which might be important. Hang on, let me just think about this for a moment or two. That cell, bizarrely, is not... That can still be 4. Because 4 can only go next to 9 on a whisper, but that's fine because these 9s don't see each other, so that can be... That's okay. Right. So what is it that I'm meant to spot next? I've got 8. I know... Right, hang on. I know the line. I know there's a 1 in one of those 2 squares now, because the line doesn't... This purple line doesn't have 8 and 9 on it. It does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on it, for sure. One of those 2 squares... Well, that's not 8 anymore, is it? So one of these 2 squares is 7. Which is potentially interesting, but not interesting enough. I've got to put 1 on the line, so 1 has to be outside box 2 and in one of those 2 positions. I don't really want to pencil mark that because that will confuse me. Oh, okay, I've missed this. Right, look at row 3. Now, I probably would have got this had I pencil marked the thermometer. But obviously these squares here, which are way along the thermometer and have to be at least equal to 4, they're not 1s and 2s. So where do you put 1 and 2 in this row? Look, there's a 1-2 pair looking up here, that cell. So that is a 1-2 pair. Which is probably important. 9. I can put 9 in the corner by Sudoku using this 9 and this 9. How many 8s have we got? I feel like I've done a lot with 8s. Ah, yeah, okay, down here. 8 and 9 go in there. So this is a 9 by Sudoku, and that means that's a 3 by Sudoku. So that's got to be useful, he says, hoping. Is it useful or not? Oh, bobbins. I don't think it is. Do I know what that is yet? No, because I still don't know what these are. I've used up all the clues though. What's going on? 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. I don't know what to do. Oh, I've not used that 19 clue, but I don't think that's going to be important, is it? Let's have a look at that. So what are the options along this? Well, we know those 2 squares have to not be 8s and 9s. Well, we can see they're not 8s and 9s anyway. But they seem to have quite a lot. Well, this column, they've got to be 4, 5 and 6. So this doesn't have terribly many options. What about that digit though? I think that digit has loads of options. 1, 2, 3, 4 and possibly 5. I think nothing is ruled out of this. The moment we can start to get any digits on the crown, I think we're going to be in much better shape. So, okay. What on earth do we do now? So maybe we've got to get this digit on the 19 diagonal, but that's, I don't think it's seeing much. It's seeing a 1, 2, an 8 and a 9, so it seems to be able to be 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Ugh. Can we get rid of anything very helpful from that? I'm trying to see how to do that, but I'm not seeing how to do it. Okay. No, all right. So I think we've got. Let's carry on with Sudoku then. The bottom, this row, we need 2, 4, and 5. So that's 2, 4, or 5. That's 2, 4, or 5. I know there's a 6 in one of these. I know that's... Oh, I tell you something I might be able to do, and that's to limit these 2 digits. Remember, if this is 2 or 4, there must be a 3 and a 5, mustn't there, in those cells? And that's not able to be 3. That means this can't be 3 or 5, and this can't be 3 or 5. So this is down to 1, 2, or 4 now. This is down to 1, 2, or 4. Ah, no, it's still not... It's not doing enough. What about then... Oh, I don't know. Let's take a look at... 3 is in one of those 2 cells. Is that somehow relevant? I don't think so. This 4, 5, 6 triple. Yeah, let's take a look at this box. We still need 1, 2, 3, and 7. Oh, 7 is forced to be here. Sorry, I should have seen that. So these are 1, 2, and 3. That's not 1. Now this 7 must... Yes, that's it. That's it. We've done it. Right, so it was... I missed some Sudoku. This is now a 6. So that's not 6. That's not 6. That's not 6. But I think perhaps more important, this now adds up to 14. And we know that the orange squares had to add up to at least 24. So that double 5s these orange lines, which means that's a 4. Now, has that done some magic for us? That can't be 5 now. This can't be 5 now. That can't be 5 now. I've got a 2, 4 pair here now, so that cell's a 5 in row 8. That cell's a 4 in row 8. That's not 4 or 5. That's not 4. That, oh, this is 5. This is still going. We're still on track. This is now 6. So we need 1, 2, and 5 along here. Can we do any better than that? Probably. This is 1, 2, or 4. Ah, okay. So where does 3 go in this column? That's nice. That seems to have to be 3. So that's got to be 4. That's still not finished the puzzle, though. What's going on? Why isn't this digit determined? I don't know. Oh, 3 in that box has got to go here. So that's not able to be 3 anymore. So maybe it is. Maybe it's this thermo that I've got to do more with. 7 in this. Oh no, that could be 7. This has got to be 1, 2, or 4. Well, the 19 diagonal, is that some... Ah, I've got a 6 on this now. Right, those have to add up to 13. So, how does that work? With difficulty, actually. Hang on a minute. This must be 4 somehow. I mean, if that's 7... That's 13. These have to add up to 6, which would mean this was a 1 or a 2. That's probably difficult for some reason I can't see. If this is 3, they have to add up to 10. That's quite difficult as well. Although, oh no, they couldn't be double 5. I've just realised they can't be double 5 because they're both on a purple line. So they have to be 6, 4. So that would be 6. That would be 4. That would be 3. Is that a problem or not? I don't think so. Oh, that's, no, it's beautiful. Oh, well done, Malrog. That's really clever. I don't know if this is what you're meant to do at this point, but this is really clever. Right, this can't be 3, because if it's 3, let's work out the consequences, especially as regards firstly the 19 diagonal, but also I think you have to consider it with the purple line, because now these have to add up to 10, which means they are a 6 and a 4. It's the only way of making that work. But what's this cell now? Because it's on the purple line, that's a 5, and now that cell's broken. It sees 3 and 5 in the row. Isn't that clever? That's really, really a very sort of smart interaction. So that's not 3, that's 7. That's going to do a little bit of work, I think. Yes, it places 7 in the middle box, or the second box. And now I can place 3 in that column. It has to go there, so that's become a 2. That's a 1. This is a 1. Therefore, this is a 2. Oh, keep going now. Have we done it? We might have done it, I think. Probably famous last words. Oh, we've got 13 now, so these have to add up to 6. So that can't be a 6, which makes that the 6. So this has to be a 1, it can't be a 2. That means that's got to be a 5, and now that diagonal should work. We've got a 5 and a 6 on here. That's got to be a 3. That's got to be a 2, and that's a 4, because it's got to be higher than 3 on the thermo, and it's got to complete this box. So that became a 2. That's a 2. That's a 4. That's a 3. This should be done. Yeah, that's a 5. That's a 4. This is a 2. That's a 5. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 4. That's a 5, therefore, and that's a 4. And that's a 6, and that's a 4, and that's a 5. What a... Oh no, and that's a 3. Let's check the rem band. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, and 7. Beautiful. That's a really clever puzzle. That really is very nice indeed. What a lovely tribute. Let's check if it's right or not. It is right. That's great. Yeah, Malrog, to do that so quickly and to build in all of these thematic elements, and I love the logic with the 8 and the 9. That's really cool. It's really, yeah, it's just very beautiful. And then, you know, also the stuff around that diagonal right at the end there, that was very clever as well. It's just very... I mean, if this had taken a few weeks to prepare, you wouldn't have been surprised. But to do it overnight is, well, it's stunning. And I can only say that I think it's a very fitting tribute to an extraordinary lady. Thanks very much for watching this edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I'm sorry if it was a little bit less upbeat than usual, but we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.